Cafe, coming to you from the best address in town, the best hillside of Kololo, number 1A Cooper Road. Today is a fairly special day in the gang, but it's a combined thing. First, it's a totally different gang this morning. I will tell you who will be talking to you this morning on a matter of major public interest. But first, last night, we at Capital Radio suffered a major shock. One of our own, the sales manager, Patrick Otembo, got involved in a freak accident, which had him unconscious for the whole of last night. The good news, though, is that Patrick has eventually pulled through. He's regained his consciousness, and we hope that he'll be better. I've been told that the guys at AR and everyone at Mulago is doing their best to make sure that Patrick comes through. So you'll get to know what happens to Patrick. If you want, you can call us on 348-406 or MTN 078-222-913. You will know Patrick's condition. But let me tell you who is in the studio today. None of the regular members of the gang except myself is around, so I have to make do with some of the best minds from elsewhere. I'll start with the Honorable Eli Karuhanga, a man who has been in the news, MP for Nyabushozi. Eli, are you coming back next year?
Coming back next year?
Yeah.
Inshallah. Who knows?
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah. But Eli's
I will make the necessary pronouncement
at the right time. Eli, we look forward to the announcement when it's made. But Eli has been in the news for a totally different reason. He's been pushing for a probe into the Ministry of Defense, and we shall be discussing that topic this morning just to find out, what is it that they're going to be telling us. The public has been saying this is a probe that's been pretty overdue, and that's about time that we went into it. But I must stand my guns, not literally though, on the man who has been in the news for the whole of this week. Colonel Henry Tumukunde, Chief of Military Intelligence, Member of Parliament for the UPDF, and many other things that I won't say on air. Henry, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
I must say I'm yet to find a soldier in this town who finds it fairly relaxed and easy to come to the studios and argue his point. I don't remember any other one, in fact, from my 2-year history on the gang, but I'll start with you, Henry.
What do you say about those?
I'll return to them later. Well, they come here as well, but normally it's more politics.
Okay.
But this time, Henry, you're here on rather more personal matter rather than you normally come around. I mean, you were accused last week of having made off with money that was meant for anti-terrorism, and that somehow it found its way into your pockets, and that as we speak now, you are an extremely wealthy man, courtesy of that money. Then you went to Parliament and made a personal declaration, and since then we've had debates. Members of Parliament are saying they've been working, some of them have been working for 30 years and have less than half your wealth. Of course, someone told me that even the fingers on the hand are not the same height. So, Henry, you make your personal statement to the people of Uganda.
Well, I thank Capital Gang for inviting me to come and talk to the people. For all the time and period I have served, my biggest conscience, my biggest area of attention, my biggest concern has been serving the people and answering any public query. Sometimes I don't spend a lot of energy answering newspapers. I don't spend a lot of energy answering giving political views. I don't spend a lot of energy, even answering individuals. When it comes to answering the public, I always find it an obligation to explain to those I owe the most important explanation, and that's the public.
Okay.
Number one, I know the source of this information.
Yeah.
I know who gave information to Monitor.
Okay, can you tell us?
I know Monitor is just a party. They just published the information. However, I won't spend a lot of time on who did it, nor even a lot of time on the monitor. All I want to say, my message to this individual and many others
Yeah.
is that I have laid my case to the public. This is what I own, and I want the public to cross-check me.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we don't own these things in towns. In my local area or wherever I'm local, people can establish what I have and I don't have. Most importantly,
Yeah.
I am in public. In fact, people were asking about whether I've declared to the IGG. That's a secret declaration.
Yeah.
I'm a stage ahead of the IGG. I have declared to the people of Uganda. Very, very important for me.
Right.
So my challenge to whoever is pushing this line, come and declare your wealth to the public. Let us be judged in front of the people of Uganda whom we
Look,
serve.
Colonel,
Simple.
let me interfere with you, Colonel. I mean, you're a brave man. You fought wars for the last 20 years. Surely, you cannot stay away from telling us who this is. I'm sure we would love to know and would like to put him on the spot as well.
Well, I don't want Robert to divert me. If I had chosen to say who it is, I would have said it. Most importantly, I go back to my point.
Yeah.
The only lesson I learned out of the Clinton saga was that you can do wrong, you can do right, but never tell lies to the public.
Yeah.
Because the public, after all, knows.
Yeah.
So, honesty to the public, honesty to the people of Uganda was my most important mission when I went to the parliament. I addressed those who represent the people of Uganda, and most importantly, I made my information public so that everybody can challenge me. If it's about how I have made it, I stand clear because they are all declared.
Yeah.
Or if there is anything that is not declared, come and we discuss it.
Yeah.
I could even give you more facts. So that was the most important mission I have.
Yep.
The other important mission, I want the public to draw lines, the people of Uganda to draw lines between the lines of accountability. The principle of accountability must be addressed for its merits.
Yeah.
I do not want the Republic of Uganda to be governed by ordinary Ankore norms like obwentamayanje uzire n'obwempise n'erebyo, meaning when the hyena passed some shit that had fur, that's when my sheep got lost. That's not the way we run public business.
Yeah.
In short, it simply says, if you own property and you are working in a public office, you must have stolen it. I have come out to say no. And I have declared every inch of what I have earned and maybe left out other areas in case one wants to establish information about what else I own and what else I have earned.
Yeah.
How do we account to the public? The job. Is the job done? That's one way of accounting to the public, and I stand high in front of the people of Uganda that for whenever they give me a mission to do, I do it. And I work for 16 hours to make sure that this mission is achieved. So accountability line number one, the job.
And you're very
accountability, very satisfied.
that you did a good job.
Yes, yes.
And the people are as well.
Yes. Accountability line number two, leadership. Those we write reports to.
Yeah.
My commander, the president of Uganda, must be satisfied beyond reasonable doubt that all they give us, we use it for the job. Who else do we account to? Our families, my children. I don't want my children to start going and looking at my property and imagining that this is ill-gotten wealth. So I had to lay my case so that my child tomorrow, my wife, everybody comes out to appreciate that I stand so clear about what I own. Most importantly, we also answer to our conscience. What you got from the public coffers, did you do a job for it? Are you satisfied? Are you sure? Most importantly, the people of Uganda, when they called me to Capital Gang, I was very, very happy.
Yeah.
Why?
So am I actually.
Why? Because the people who have got a case to plead for me are there out in the public.
Yeah, who know the kind
Those I give money to do the job, those we know, those on the tax park, those in those areas.
Mm.
Those are my biggest witnesses.
Yeah.
In fact, one day I threatened and said, I may have to call them out.
Mm.
If all the accounting lines can't work, then the people will come and account for me. Because they are there, they are living.
Yeah.
I can also tell you that my other accounting line is those I was countering, the enemy. They know I countered them very, very effectively. So you can also call on them. They will tell you that if Tumukunde is not in this town, we are in trouble. I mean, we can have a leeway. Well, they may be abusing me, they may be passing negative comments, but the total effect of the comments is that I have countered them. This is what, to me, I call accountability. Now, this business of seeing you wearing a shirt and they relate it where you work, I want to bring a new approach to the Republic of Uganda and the people here. That from now on, they shall be judged by what we do as individuals and what we do as members of the public.
Yeah.
I want to say something about money.
And that's
First of all, the period of accounting
yeah.
should only be 14 months, because that's where people seem to be most concerned.
Absolutely, actually.
And the period of 14 months, what I have earned there is outlined in the public document I gave.
Yeah.
If you start asking me what I earned those days, or whether cows produce or whatever, these very poor investments which are making headlines in the Republic of Uganda, I wish I was investing better. But
Yeah.
we can't even invest better because we don't have time to manage business.
Yeah.
So the only thing you can do is the obvious foolish man's investment of a farm, cows, because those are easy. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And the pints
And
of milk
the
and
land
produce.
is static, it doesn't move. If you go to indulge in more sophisticated business, we have no time to manage it.
Yeah.
So for the 14 months, the bigger question is, what did I achieve?
Yeah.
Still about money. I inherited this operation from other people. They were getting a lot more money. Why don't they make news? My department and this operation put together cannot even amount to any of the other agencies, even half. Why aren't they put to the crossroads? Is it because they don't own property, or is it because they do a big job, a better job than I do? So, what are we trying to tell the Republic of Uganda? That people who bring such things to the news are not necessarily very pained about the public money. They have their own small missions, and let the public not be lied. In fact, in the process of time, I'm sure we shall establish who these people are. In fact, the best they have done is to alert us. Because while we spend time for us trying to counter the enemies of Uganda, people spend time countering us. Well, there's always something good about something.
Yeah.
Now I have been alerted that out there,
You have.
there is a group of guys planning against my person. I'll slot off a bit of time and counter 1 or 2 in a very, very, very civilized way.
Yeah.
This has always been my mission.
Right. Let me just switch to Honorable Eli, for a while. I mean, Eli, you are in Parliament. You saw the story. You listened to Colonel Henry. You probably even have interacted with other members of Parliament. Was he unfairly treated?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there is a new message the people of Uganda are receiving out of all this. And really, I don't want to individualize this thing, although it is unfortunate that we have to use Colonel Tumukunde as the
Canon fodder?
canon for it. But there is a message that is coming out very clearly in the whole country.
Yeah.
The message of the public opinion, the message of accountability,
Yeah.
the message of how our leaders are perceived, whether by the enemies outside our country, or by the enemies within our country, or by their colleagues who rival them for offices, or by public opinion. Because in my view, public opinion is the voice of God. And when I saw Henry Tumukunde coming into Parliament before the public opinion, I knew he was really appealing to the voice of God. Because it is there that how otherwise do you know what is decent?
Yeah.
So for me, immediately he finished his statement, I moved my motion on defense.
Yeah.
That there was a lot of allegations coming out and feeding in newspapers.
Yes.
And whoever is bringing those allegations, Henry is lucky he knows who they are. We don't. We, the public opinion.
But we need to know.
But we need to know.
Yeah.
And in defense, there is a difference between the need to know and the right to know.
Yes.
Now, we people who manage
And
public opinion, which I have described as the voice of God,
Yeah.
we then put it to the person whom they allege
Yeah.
things about to come out and clean this voice. And Henry did that.
Yeah.
Now, that was courageous, and it was immediate, and he did not waste time in allowing further speculation. And as you have seen, after he did what he did,
Yeah.
very little is actually coming out. It's different from that case of other cases which we have dealt with in
the past.
In the past. I've not seen too much newspaper writing about this, and I attribute that to his immediate reaction, which in his individuality was, I think, positive for him to do that. Now, of course, it opens the whole Pandora box of the values he declared, whether those are the right values. But you see, again, you are getting now into details.
Yeah, you see that, but that, in my view, I think is where we can now take him on his word.
Exactly.
There is no speculation. Well,
now the point here then is we've moved a motion to look. It's a significant motion to look into mismanagement, into corruption, into abuse of office in the Ministry of Defense, which means that our senior officers, like Henry, will be open. And for him, he has opened. So there's nothing for them. They just take that list he gave.
Yeah.
They look at it. If they want to concern themselves with it,
Yes.
that's up to them.
Yeah.
If they feel that it is not necessary for them, they're satisfied with what he gave them, that's up to them. The committee is there. We've done the necessary infrastructure. We put it in place.
For everyone who wants.
For everyone else. And it should not be Henry.
Yes.
It should be others. Because he's not the only one we are going to be inquiring into in defense.
91.3 Kablo FM. This is the Capital Gang, brought to you by Bell Lager, without the usual gangsters. But with me, Colonel Henry Tumukunde, Chief of Military Intelligence, the Honorable Eric Karuhanga, MP for Nyabushozi, and the Chairman of the Probe Committee into the Ministry of Defense. And I am Robert Kabushenga. Last week I did play a track for the senior members who normally listen to the gang, but today I'm going to play it specifically for the younger members who listen to the gang. I know Stephen Banya, the one who supplies us with coffee, his kids love the gang, so this one is for you. And Jen, you should also start playing this in the morning. Plus, Patrick, I mean, I'm sure you're in hospital, but if you've already come through and you're listening, this is for you. It's The Real Slim Shady by Eminem. To you by Bell Lager, the finest premium beer in the land, with great coffee, fantastic cakes from Ban Cafe, with the Honorable Eric Karuhanga, MP for Nyabushozi County, and Colonel Henry Tumukunde, Chief of Military Intelligence. Today, the rest of the gang is out on holiday. Patrick's in Nairobi, Winnie's out of town, Frank is out of town as well, and Charles has to be a father and a mother today. He's told me his kids are to visit a dentist this morning. But let's get back to business. And if you want to take part in the gang today, there's a lot of space. You can call us on MTN 078 222 913, and please indicate whether you're on mobile so we can take your call quickly, or 348 406. And just walking in right now is another Honorable Norbert Mao, MP, Gulu Municipality. It's going to be full fireworks in the studio today. Norbert, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Robert.
Well,
though the notice you gave me was too short.
Don't start going into that. we shall settle that over the cup of coffee. But let me turn to you, Colonel Henry. I mean, there is since you published your statement of declaration of your wealth, I mean, people have called me and told me that, look, how possibly did he save all the £2,000 he was earning per month in the UK I mean, how about the 700-pound flat he was living in a posh area? I mean, does that mean he was making off a lot of money off the military procurements he was making? I mean, all that stuff came out. And then they also said that the house you bought in Bunga, the 110 million house, you bought it at the time when you're involved in Kakuyege in Kampala, and you are controlling a massive tranche of money. I mean, you have decided you want to account to the people of Uganda. I mean, you might as well to give us that one.
Well, some of the accusations I don't pick, but in any case anyway, these are areas of accountability. You can go to Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The flat is paid by Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Water was paid by Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Electricity was paid by Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So, these are facts. And for some of you who like challenging facts, invest in establishing facts. And I was not married, single. I didn't have a lot of areas to spend money on. So,
right,
where is the challenge? About buying a house when I had come out of Kakuyege. By the way, most of these things we do them on record. There are banks where I paid this money and so on. Even some sources can be established. And I can assure you Kakuyege didn't have money. If there was any money at all, we gave it to the people. And like I said in the beginning, the people are my witnesses. They are there, out there in the capital city of Kampala, even without going very far. I can call a number of witnesses.
Right. Let's take a caller. I've got a caller on the line. Please give us your name and your comment, and tell us where you're calling from.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go right ahead.
I'm called Baguma Henry and I'm calling from Naguru. Okay, I would like to... I think those people who are on the neck of Mr. of Colonel Henry Tumukunde, when you totaled, it was about 800 million. Isn't it, I think? I think that money is not so much that he couldn't have accumulated in the last 20 years. If you compare him with other members of parliament, some army men, mostly those who are in Congo, I think they should be off his neck. That's my comment, sir.
Right. I mean, let me just even turn this to Honorable Mao, who is one of the people, I mean, who definitely would, given the opportunity, would go for Henry's neck. I mean, no, but what do you make of the caller's comment?
I think it is not an adequate exoneration to say others are richer or others are doing better. I think when a finger is pointed at you, I think the colonel did the right thing to come forthright. But in the process, more questions are being asked, and I think the colonel should not be offended. For me,
Ask me one.
For me, what worries me is this so-called millionaire club of 1986. Everybody who is doing so well have the first date of accumulation in 1986, and we are saying that this wealth is directly proportional to power. First of all, you use the gun to accumulate power. Then you use the power to accumulate wealth. I think, and I would like to take Colonel Henry Tumukunde out of this and look at it in a panoramic way. The system which facilitates this kind of accumulation. Of course, using the gun to get power is a primitive acquisition of power. Now, using power to accumulate wealth is primitive accumulation of wealth. I have written 2 years ago, when we were debating essential motion, that you have, I said, Madivani sells sugar, so we know where his wealth comes from. Bill Gates sells microchips and software, so we know where his wealth comes from. We know that Mukwano or Mulwana sells batteries. That's where his money comes from, and other things. I have been asking, where do you high-ranking, wealthy UPDF officers get your money? What do you sell?
I sell newspapers.
You are not a wealthy man.
Kano, I mean,
that is really the question. And
I answer to
yeah.
Honorable Norbert Mao. One, there is no club of millionaires. and they are not only UPDF. I want to tell you, I want people to get frank and get on the line and account. How we found Sudhir today, as we talk, Sudhir runs 77 properties in Kampala under Crane Management Agency. Monitoron owes the revenue authority 400 million equal of VAT, value added tax, which is just 17%. Don't you think Monitor is making a hell of money? And in any case, let me also say something. And this I'm directing to Honorable Norbert Mao. It is not enough just talk about corruption. Not enough talk about money and money earning. Let's talk about morals. I want to challenge you, Honorable Norbert Mao. Tell the public, you are accused of having married somebody's wife. You want to be a president of Uganda tomorrow. Answer it. Tell us. Explain your case to the public. These are morals. It's not enough to keep talking about money, corruption, and morals. Answer me that. Did you marry somebody's wife? If you didn't, tell the public if you didn't. Because we can't continue here going around with the evils of yesterdays becoming the angels of today. I'm told, Sora and Paul is a very big value and so on. Good, I understand.
Right.
But if you want to be a leader in Uganda, the broad moral area spectrum of morals must be answered to.
Right. We've got another call on the line. Please give us your comment and tell us where you're calling from. That's your name.
Hello.
Go right ahead. We can hear you. Go right ahead. But move away from your radio, please.
Hello. My name is Edson Bagada, and I'm calling from Belgrade. Now, I've had this argument about Tumukunde for a long time, and I was thinking that, for 20 years, if someone was making £120,000 over the time that he was a foreign service officer, why doesn't he just go to Parliament and then teach some of these MPs how to invest their money? Because they can't imagine how you can invest some little money and then get something out of it. Otherwise, there are people who have billions of shillings. He's only talking about under $1 billion. If you have cows and everything, what he should do for them is go and tell them that, something, if you have 5 million shillings, go and invest it here, and then maybe you can get over 20 years this amount of money. But otherwise, this business is witch hunting. Thank you very much, Robert.
Yeah.
And I want to take it from there on this witch hunting.
Yeah.
I think that the big picture must not be lost. The big picture for our country towards establishing a sober society is this momentum which is coming from the countryside, from the local government at the district councils, from parliament, from the military council, from the high command, from the government, from the executive. Can we look at our leaders and have a clean leadership?
Yeah.
Can we, if instead of picking Henry Tumukunde and appear as if we are witch hunting him, Parliament has instituted a probe into defense. If that committee feels that this is necessary, let's look at the Tumukundes generally.
Yes.
But to witch hunt one individual, to me, I don't know whether it will take us very far. And we can do this. We can wish Tumukunde today. Tomorrow we get hold of Odong. After that we get hold of Mega General Mugisha Muntu. After that time we get hold of Mao, as is now being alleged on him. Then after that Karuhanga. Then after that, but this doesn't help. I think we need a principled approach to all these issues.
Yeah.
And me, I am quite happy that we are making serious inroads.
Yeah.
What about the members of the High Command, generally? What about members of Parliament? In Parliament itself, we need a committee on integrity. We need an ethics committee. We don't have an ethics committee in Parliament.
Well, do you have any ethics in Parliament?
Well,
I have to take a call. I have to take.
We have some standards.
I do have to take a call.
This is very important. It is these ethics committees that would be looking at.
I am sure we shall return to that issue. I mean, obviously, you notice that there is a whole crisis. What brings to me in mind to me is that, Colonel Henry Tumukunde's issue raises the question of leadership integrity on a broader scale. But let's take another caller. Please give us your name, tell us where you're calling from, and please make your comment short, and try and move away from your radio as well.
Yes, my name is Charles Agaba. I'm calling from Kaboa. I think Henry Tumukunde is diverting from the argument that Mao has brought. Mao has asked him to tell us what he has sold or what he sells to get his money. Now he's bringing the issue of marriage. I think the debate today is not concerning Mao's marriage, whether he has married somebody's wife or not. Let him tell us what he has sold to get the money. Thank you very much.
I think let me just clarify here. I think the issue, and this is where, of course, that's why I didn't go into the discussion of who Mao is, doing it with or whatever. But the
Parliament and said the UPDF is in a mess. I think he knows better. None of us said it.
Better than who?
Well, I do have another call on the line. Let's take the call, but I want to throw this issue of the defense probe on the table. So please give us.
You should allow us to answer some of this question.
Yeah, okay.
Oh no, let me just take the call. I want to take the caller because he's waiting. Let him just.
Tomorrow's the yardstick.
Right.
Broad and broad.
Let's take this call, and then we can dive back into our debate. Yes, please tell us your name and where you're calling from, and make your comment or question short.
My name is Edwin. I want to tell Colonel Tumukunde, you have primitively accumulated wealth. Don't tell us about Norbert Mao's woman. Nobody is marrying virgins today. And I'll tell you, when Norbert Mao becomes president, we are going to account for every single cent you have. He is going to be president. We're going to be in charge. You will tell us. Thank you very much.
And I hope you won't accumulate wealth.
Well, that's what I was going to. But most importantly, anyway, Norbert Mao should be president.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm challenging. And I want to give you all my assurances that if he gets the right votes, I'll support him. The question is, all that is embedded in this, that's why I come to answer to the public. Question of integrity. You who are on top of us, do you deserve being there? I want to tell you in very precise terms. One was asking how I earned money. I said it. I said even milk that I didn't want to bring in. If you have so many cows, of course you sell milk. And I remember seeing Norbert Mao entering politics, and I see him today. He looks fairly different on the face.
I've lost weight incidentally.
Is it because he's primitive in accumulating wealth?
I will have to.
Parliament is being accused of having allocated themselves salaries. Norbert Mao was a member. I don't know where he voted. But for sure, what he voted has changed his face. He looks very different.
I will tell you, Colonel. I will tell you that there are also other perks that come with being on committees and issues like that, which we shall return to when we come back from the break. We shall be talking about the defense probe. Can it deliver? Can it be trusted? And especially, and this is targeted personally to Honorable Eric Arhanga, that you come from. You're the member of Parliament for the President, who is in charge of defense. Can we possibly trust you? When we come back from the break, that is what will be occupying our minds.
This is the Capital Gang, brought to you by Uganda's finest premium beer, Bell Lager. Brought to you by Uganda's finest premium beer, Bell Lager.
Yeah, it's Uganda's finest premium beer. It's Bell Lager, and it is the Capital Gang, brought to you by Bell Lager, with the best coffee in town. If you're wondering where to go after the gang, just go out there. There's one at Buganda Road. There's another one at Grand Imperial. You can have a great cup of coffee.
Opening in China.
There's another one opening in China. He's also thinking of South Africa. Or better still, if you want to start your weekend early, you can pop open a bottle of Bell Lager and start your weekend early enough. This is the Capital Gang with Colonel Henry Tumukunde, the Honorable Eli Karuhanga, MP for Nyabushozi County, and the Honorable Norbert Mao, MP for Gulu Municipality, and I am Robert Kabushenga. And I want to cut to the bone here now. We've been throwing mud at each other. It's become personal. I want to get out of the gutter now and let's go to the real stuff. I mean, Eli, there's the whole probe into the Ministry of Defense. People have been saying it's been overdue. We've had the salary scam, junk helicopters, dry rations. Then somebody went to China and bought uniforms for Chinese,
Short trousers.
which were without due regard for the behinds of African
One
soldiers.
size.
I mean, loads and loads of stuff. Then, stuff has come out that planes go to Congo with half the load they're supposed to be going. The rates that were being charged are not the... I mean, all sorts of stuff. But then, for starters, let me start with your committee. It's been criticized that it's composed of people with absolutely no knowledge of defense matters, therefore don't know where to start any investigation. You yourself have come under attack because they've said you are the MP for the person in charge of the Ministry of Defense. You're likely to be sympathetic to him in case you choose to go back for another vote. You need that backing. And, hey,
Well, first of
it's
all,
yours.
let's start with the last one.
Yeah.
I believe that the speaker's choice of members, anybody is free to criticize it. Mao here called it a whitewash. But I think it's important for members to know who the members of that committee are. I am not one of the members on that committee. I'm not chairing that committee, and therefore the accusation about me running that affair is completely misdirected.
But you're the one tabling the motion.
I tabled the motion, it was passed, and my job is finished. I am waiting for the report like everybody else, like you and me.
So who is on the
But
committee? You, at
We
least the
have
chairman.
Dr. Malinga.
Yeah.
Dr. Malinga is from Parisa. He has served in defense in the past. He's a medical doctor. He's got international experience. He's been a member of parliament for quite some time. He's a respectable citizen. We have Dr. Matov,
Biatike.
from Entebbe. He's been running Makerere University as chairman of the University Council or Senate for a long time. He's a man of great experience. He's a calm, composed individual.
Yeah.
I don't think he can hide matters. He's done a lot of probes in the university, and I have respect to this gentleman.
Yeah.
There is Colonel Mudola.
Right.
Colonel Mudola has been in defense. He's chairman of the Defense Committee and Internal Affairs, not for the first time, but for the third time running. At one time he was. There is Honorable Ogaro.
Right.
Honorable Ogaro is a lawyer. He's chairman of the legal committee.
So you're telling us
for a long
that-
time he's a commissioner. He's a distinguished character and a good citizen.
So, Honorable, you're telling
Don't
us
let
we
me
have-
tell the names
No,
because
no,
it's
you're
very
telling
important.
us we
This
have-
has been going on for a long time, so let me
List
name
the
them.
names.
Yes. So there is Chibet Maikut. He's the chairman of Uganda Farmers Association. He's a gentleman. He's been in parliament for some time. He's an experienced and seasoned parliamentarian. There is Nyeko Benimogi. He's a doctor. He's not somebody you can look down upon. He's an old man. He's a calculating, calm individual with a lot of respect. A veterinary doctor. There is Goba, Honorable Goba from Merute in Lango. This gentleman is an auditor. He's banking experience. He's somebody who can. He's not just a young man like Mao here. He's not in the youth.
Not young.
Are you saying
Sorry, he's
Mao-
not as old as Mao. When you see him, he's a dignified citizen.
Yeah.
There is Colonel Omaria. Colonel Omaria, what other experience in defense do you want? He's not a simple character. This is there is Dr. Nkuhe. He's a computer. He's our IT specialist.
internet.
He's a doctor. He's a man of. How do you really? There is Honorable Tagi. He was a commissioner for agriculture.
Yeah.
He's he's a middle-aged, 49, 50 years old, maybe. I don't know what. There is Dr. Mwebesa, a woman. We have to have some women. Dr. Mwebesa. This is a woman from Kabari. There is Baremezi, elected by Mukono people, a tax specialist, a procurement person who knows a lot of procurement, which we are trying. There is Honorable Bakabulindi, representing workers.
Honorable Eli.
There is Moranga, who is the secretary for the Committee on Defense.
We are happy.
Now you tell me,
We are happy.
whom do you want?
No, but you are the one who raised it.
Who else? Where do you want people?
No, but you are the one who raised the complaint in
this-
Parliament.
What
Do you think,
people who
first of
think,
all,
no, I can tell you that there are people who really wanted to have some names there. They were saying that multi-parties are not there. They are saying that the speaker chose the names. He was directed from above. He was manipulated by Karuhanga. This is crazy.
Question, Honorable Karuhanga. Did you propose some names which were excluded by the speaker?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I
Tell
love it.
us those names and why you think the speaker excluded them.
I lobbied the speaker because I moved the motion.
yes,
It was my motion. I lobbied the speaker to have some names. He dropped some names and he picked others because I lobbied together with Honorable Mudola and we had consulted other members, including Honorable Byanyima. And we took a list of more than 20 names to the Speaker, and he had to pick 15. So names had to be dropped. And in Parliament, we are the ones who decided on the number. The Speaker came with 9 names initially. When we went to lobby him, he said, no, I won't have 15, I'll have 9. We agreed. We agreed. Then when in Parliament, we said, no, we want 15. Then the Speaker named 15. So some names had to be dropped.
Right.
So maybe you have.
Well, Robert, I have participated in an inquiry before. I have participated in an inquiry before.
Which one?
I participated in the Defense and Internal Affairs inquiry into the armed conflict in the north. And I know the amount of guts you need to be able to face some of these people when you are investigating them. And I also know that the parliamentary... The guts is because...
Authority of Parliament?
No, the authority of Parliament is
You
not
don't
enough.
need any guts.
You need some individual personal courage. Colonel, even in the army,
Institutional courage.
There is nothing like institutional courage. Because courage is personal to hold. You cannot say this parliament is courageous and then you borrow it. You get an overdraft on courage. I would like to suggest, however, that there are 2 major defects with this committee.
Yeah.
The first is that it is not representative of the political spectrum in parliament. And I want to state clearly that this committee of inquiry looks more like a subcommittee of the movement caucus.
Which select committee has been representative?
I think
we have had many select committees. Tell me which one, and then tell me which one has produced a bad report.
I am talking about this one being unrepresentative.
When is yes.
It is representative if it has, because government has critics and supporters. And if you put a committee of those who are largely comprised of sycophants of the movement,
by the way,
how are they going to investigate a man of the influence of Lieutenant General Yoweri Museveni, who is, as you know, is the Minister of Defense? Coming before an election, the majority of those committee members are not likely, because some of the things they will have to do is very unpleasant.
Robert,
do they have the guts?
Robert,
we needed people to. We needed the committee to be composed of both those who are critics and the defenders of the system.
I need to move away from.
That's why I said we are not having an inquiry, but a whitewash. And for me, the report is out. I already know what is going to be published.
You see, the Honorable Mao, I respect his opinion, but I would ask him to read the rules of Parliament. Any member of Parliament is free to move to the select committee and put his questions and interrogate. It is not a closed society. And secondly, the committee can even include and invite somebody to come and join them, who is not even named by the Speaker. The committee itself can co-opt somebody else. Secondly, any member of Parliament is free to walk to the committee. And Mao is free to walk to this defense committee and ask as many questions as he wants. So really, to me, to try and underrate the names I have mentioned and start concluding that the report, because we have gone through all sorts of committees. There are many select committees. We had a select committee on agriculture. Why did Mao not stand up and say there was no multi-party? Because I have the names here. There was nobody. All of these are movement people. But after they presented their report, I saw the vice president being harassed.
But she takes.
How come that? Well, no, I think she was moved out of agriculture.
Yeah, but
we are all members.
I have seen the committee on forestry, which has pinned down Kajura.
Why don't we
Who was there? Who was the multi-partist?
Yeah, but I have.
There was a committee on privatization.
Who
was there? Who
the
was
Mongole committee.
The Mongole committee.
I would like,
but Robert, we have got a parliament.
So I don't understand.
We need to move. We need to move away, first of all, from the issue of composition. I mean, we can debate till the cows go home. I mean,
can I say something?
Yeah.
2 things. Honorable Mao can challenge the composition of the committee.
Yeah.
This is why we are a parliament. Say, I'm not satisfied that the composition will do the job. That's one point. Secondly, I don't think there is anybody sycophant enough to allow the funds of Ugandans to be put to waste. Nor is there anybody less courageous when it comes fighting for your own rights.
Right.
So what is the most important thing here? The public is saying defense has had so many areas which we want to get more information about. Parliament has put a committee. All you need is that you can polish the committee, present it, and let us hear the report.
Yeah.
But should I also add that if we go to every committee, scrutinize whose mind, I can also tell you there are some people in the movement who are more sharply opposed to mistakes in the movement than the multi parties.
Exactly.
I don't want to mention names, but I know them. Let's leave it
But
at
let me. I've been saying that one of the problems of this probe committee is one. Can you help us and tell us what the mandate is going to be? And there's been the fear in the eyes of, in the minds of the public that one, there's been a reluctance on the part of the powers that be in the ministry to allow an investigation, and they have claimed that
I'm here.
defense matters are so sensitive they can't be in the public arena.
By the way,
Let me just finish the
Yes.
issue. Then the second issue in the minds of the public is, having gone through the 17-day sensation of last year, I mean, how much information of this will be laid to the public, and when are they going to go into camera, and how much camera proceedings are going to allow whitewash? Those are some of the fears which should be addressed by you people now.
by the way, before we made our motion, or before I made that motion, I made it because, one, I heard the voices of members of parliament, loud and clear. They were crying for a probe. And I understood public opinion really demanded a probe. Second, I consulted some of the army officers whom I relate to, and they told me it was time for a probe. Thirdly, when I conceived the motion and the speaker advised me to make a substantive motion, I invited all the ministers of security, plus the prime minister. And we sat together with the committees of defense and foreign affairs. And we found a common position that there was a need for a probe.
The question is,
So
a probe
now,
into what?
into defense. And then we had now to move to the president. And the president met the two committees on defense and foreign affairs. And agreed that, yes, I have no problem with the probe. Now, my worry is how people are going to access secret information about our security and how they may misuse it. How do we protect the nation? Because national security interests are very important. And I think it was legitimate for the president, and this question was appreciated by members of parliament. And later on, the president met me and the speaker and raised the same issue, especially on the capacity of some of the weapons we may have, especially the tanks, which we wanted to investigate. And it took us time to be able to relate to the president and get his absolute commitment to cooperate with this committee.
Yeah.
So after all this, I have no doubt in my mind that whether the committee holds its investigations in camera or in open, and they have the option, even the witnesses have the option to say, I want mine in public or I want mine in camera. What we need to do is to appeal to the public to cooperate with this inquiry. Give it maximum cooperation. It has been promised this cooperation by members of UPDF, by the president, by the Minister of Defense, by everyone that is involved in this. And that's why there was no debate in Parliament, because there was a complete consensus on this.
Well, anyway, there is nothing about public funds that is that secret to those who have the country at heart. It doesn't matter what you access, for as long as you know very well that this will not kill the security concern of your own country or the security secret of your own country. So, even members of parliament, I'm sure those whose mission it is to protect Uganda, I believe they will protect this information. But there are those who are always looked for any kind of information, even if when it endangers their own country, they want to expose it because they think by exposing it, you are weakening the Museveni government. Talk about it. This is where the danger is.
Yeah.
I pray that there will not be any leakages. And maybe I should inform the public and you brothers who are gathered here that maybe there is nothing about the 17th report that is not known by the public.
Yeah, but
I wait for the defense report. I'm sure the president will find a way of either changing these weapons or redesigning the defense capability and all other things when everything is leaked to the press. I would want to conclude by saying I have always had my view that at the end of the day, the people of Uganda must have their national interests very clear. Unless we achieve this, we will have a problem. I have always told our colleagues, look at what is happening to Tumukunde, this amount of money, even some of it lies, 3 billion. That's not even, not even a tenth of that volume could have been used for this operation. But for them, because they want to paint Tumukunde, then they can as well say 3 billion. Now, because they want to paint the government wrong, you wait. They will say the tanks were this, the tanks were this, Meanwhile, everybody is opening what they used to pay for. Now they will get free on the airwaves of Uganda and the newspapers. That is my only fear.
Yeah.
But let me reiterate one important thing, gentlemen and ladies of this country. Let there be no hindrance to whoever wants to establish any facts about what concerns us as a country. About what concerns us as individuals is another subject. But about where public funds, public interest, public everything is a concern, everyone should be accessed. What we need to move from is misusing this information. Get the information, know that it's yours. Fine. I was giving an example to a committee who are probing some other group somewhere. It doesn't matter how much truth you say you have established. But if it becomes so public that it will endanger your own country, why the truth at all? That's where the problem is.
I want to swing to Honorable Mao. I mean, you're probably one of those who is concerned, because I wanted to ask this issue of what is it that the probe is going to concern itself with. I mean, we've talked about national security and everything, but one of the biggest problems for Ugandans is not even they don't expect the committee to probe our defense capacity in terms of the weapons. No, I think the issue is whether
corruption.
The money
that we vote
to
for
go
defense.
to is doing precisely what it claims to do.
Yes, it's giving the taxpayer his money's value.
Yeah. So the question, I mean, what are the areas are we thinking about? I mean, we don't want to know whether Tumukunde has a tank that, can fire on its own by remote control. I think the interest is how much of the money, I mean, where are people's salaries going?
Yeah. Can I come in before my brother comes in here? I think, to me, I am looking forward to this report. That first, that there will be systems in defense. I cannot see how you can pay salaries to a payroll of so many soldiers. I don't know the number of our troops manually, without having a computer system, without having any software package that can run payroll, without managing human resource in a modern way,
without knowing who is
without knowing, and therefore the ghosts. So whoever you put there will always be accused of paying ghosts and paying to himself. This is why the president brought. There was a woman called I forget her name. She came as an auditor. Then she got bright and she got Colonel. My brother Colonel Msinguzi.
Yeah.
These were put in trouble by this lady because she assumed there were too many ghosts. In the end, she took off with money and disappeared to America. And these guys were left lunching in their homes there. But there is no attempt to computerize that system. And I am hoping that this probe will be able to get into defense and say, stop it. This is not a modern way of running any small company, let alone a huge mammoth organization running a shop, running an organization of billions of dollars. So it's wrong to do this, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, three brief issues. There will always continue to be a struggle between what is secret and what should not be secret. in any country, in any democracy. The public always want to claw in while the government is always trying to seal the doors.
In the media,
And
we call it tearing the envelope.
Yes, and I'm saying it should not be used for covering up information. It is wrong for anyone to start labeling. I suspect that the reason why government critics were not put on this committee is because they assume that they will be loudmouthed about it. I do not think that's necessarily true. If Uganda was a company, all of us are equal shareholders. And I don't think anybody has a right to say, Mao loves this country less than I do. We all love our country. Because when all is said and done, we are equal shareholders. So I do not like to be gagged on the assumption that I'll be loudmouthed. At the same time, of course, in a political contest, we will use massively in next year's election the failures of the government to bring it down in an election. But we are not going to be talking about secrets. We will be talking about the corruption in the government. If I use your corruption to make sure you lose votes, you don't say Mao is leaking secrets. In fact, I'm helping to rid the country of a famine if I'm removing corruption. Secondly, Robert, I expect that this inquiry is going to deal with issues of procurement. There is a general suspicion that most of the procurement is done in an informal kiosk-like manner. Major so-and-so go to Belarus and find out whether they have tanks.
I can help you.
Major General so-and-so, do you know anyone who can supply tanks?
It is one of the items in my motion.
So this is a specific problem.
Systems.
Secondly, the ghost soldiers. Actually, there's an interesting thing which happened in the 96 election in Gulu. Some people who were counting on army votes looked at the payroll and they started counting their votes. Now, when the actual day of voting came, they discovered that there were no people to match those names. So, the 1996 election in Gulu...
They were on an operation. Stop operating because there's an election.
Also exposed...
But I could say something.
Yeah, it also exposed. Yeah. But more importantly, at the policy level, I do hope that this inquiry will make recommendations which will lead into the building of a real national army. I do not think Uganda has ever had a national army. These regime forces that only know how to protect the regimes, I think, have got to be transformed into real national forces. That's at the policy level, and to me, that's what is preeminent.
You're the
maybe
soldier.
A few points.
You're the soldier, and you're into this whole.
Take advantage of my being here.
Please go ahead.
I can help, and
we
the public will judge. One good case. Yes, defense can hear other views from outside defense. Maybe, I should say, they will be useful. They will help us. Big point number one. When it comes to things like computerization, always read your security sphere very well. A battalion in Parabek, another one in Badolite, another one in Isiro. Even when you are computerized at center, what will it help at that end? Yeah. I just want to leave this to the public. They should judge. Procurement.
It will help.
Procurement. The problem with the areas like insurgency is that they are very uncertain. Too many threats keep emerging within one threat. So much so that there is always a need to procure. So much so that there is need sometimes to do rush, purchases. Now, when they say that there are no procedures for procurement, we have a tender board. It is functioning. But even within the law, they provide for ad hoc purchases. I'm not here to cover those who are misusing this situation. I'm only here to tell you that the situation can sometimes be complicated. I want also to tell you, over time, our defense personnel got destroyed. The little jokes, the who. So I want to tell you that this army has been a learn from nobody army. the person you would have learned from is either dead or scattered, things like that. So we are also in a big process of learning. We are also handling a very massive area of management. I see how many problems some even find in running a mere partnership in Owino. So think about ourselves and Ministry of
Money
Defense.
is scarce resources, we have the money.
Let me come.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't polish.
I want
We
to.
should polish.
I
It's
want
very,
to.
very
I want to
important.
take it from your point, Kano,
Yeah.
and sort of some wrap up. One of the issues. This is really an issue that I've pondered personally, discussed with many people. Is the question of you will address procurement and so on, but there's the larger criticism that one, some of the people that are employed to do this job of management of the forces are actually, the challenges that they are facing are way out of their depth, either intellectually or even the skills that they have. But somehow they are there and they are being entrusted with large responsibilities that are out of their depth for them. I don't know whether the probe will be able to look into that. Then secondly,
Are you comparing this with the days of Maria Mungu?
well, we have to move on. This is
We
this
are
is
100
supposed
times better.
yeah, but you're supposed to be a superior force. But the other issue which is of concern to many people is the role of civilians in defense matters. People who are not accountable to anybody, either as a company or to the Ministry of Defense, whose role is not clear but seem to be involved in
Like who? Like
Let me give an example.
Put a case,
Let me
yeah.
give an example. Like when the issue of the junk helicopters came up, there were 2 or 3 names of civilians that came up, which I will not mention here. Not just them, there was also 1 or 2 other individuals who seemed to have been involved in the transaction. Now, legally, we're all 4 lawyers here. If there was an investigation, there is no way you can trace those people to bring back your money because somehow they